So this idiot right here, if I ever see you, just kidding. If you know, you know. But TikTok Shop, it's exploding right now. Every single day there are new people, experienced people hitting 5-figure months with TikTok Shop, multiple 5-figure months, let alone. But here's the thing, 99% of TikTok Shop creators have absolutely no idea how to actually hook their audience in the first 3 seconds, which is actually the most important part of your video. They're still using the same boring hooks from 2024, or they're just not even using a good hook in the first place. So after analyzing thousands of TikTok Shop videos and making literally thousands myself, I've identified the top 5 hook concepts that are crushing right now. Again, concepts. Why is this working? So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what these concepts are, show you real examples of each one, explain why they're working so well in 2025. So if you are serious about growing your TikTok Shop income and commissions without guessing and stumbling and doing the hope and pray method in the dark with the $50 discords that don't work, seriously, click the first link in my bio if you want to learn more and actually book a call for my mentorship program. If you are wanting to take it seriously and get to the next level, it's not for everyone. To start off the list, the hook that we used actually in this video, that's one of the most common hooks right now. So again, the hook kind of goes something along the lines, you can curse in it, you can kind of change the inner workings of it, but in general, it goes something along the lines. If I ever see this idiot right here, I have a major bone to pick with you. Like, that's one version of it. You know, there's a couple different ways that you can say it, but again, all you're doing is just referencing someone. Now, why is this actually working in the first place? Well, you're calling out someone, right? So in general, people like controversy, people like their gossip. So it's almost like some form of gossip, right? People are very negative. That's why almost every single YouTube video that you see is the stock market is crashing, not the stock market is up 1%, right? Nobody cares. So it's the same concept. People want controversy, people want drama. So it's like almost some version that you're framing it as this controversy right here. And so to take it a step further, oftentimes you're showing some sort of screenshot or video of somebody else, in this case of TikTok Shop, who's already actually selling this product, right? So chances are it's retargeting people who've already seen that. So that's why it's so powerful, because you're creating relevancy and you're creating controversy. Those are the two things that work really well together. So if you're trying to actually implement this yourself, right? If you're going to use a picture or a video of somebody else, you want to make sure that it's somebody for a popular video for the product that you're already on. Or it could just be some sort of made up version where it doesn't even have to be related to the product. It can just be related to the concept. So for example, if somebody's bringing up something, they're just a relevant celebrity in that niche, right? You can even make up the story. It doesn't even have to be a real story. It could just be some sort of concept where you're drawing controversy on somebody that they'll recognize, or at least they'll see the screenshot of the video and they'll be talking about the concept that you're referring to for the product that you're trying to sell. And it works really well right now. So the second one, this was really common. Again, there's a lot of iterations on this, but some of the ones that I've seen, I was a nanny for a billionaire family. My dad's one of the highest paid XYZ nutritionalist, doctor. And there's like a running joke now that like there's like 5 different people who have the highest paid nutritionalist dad in the state of Ohio. Like it's a running joke at this point. But the concept behind it, that's what it is. So why is it actually working in the first place? Well, again, you're creating this story that's interesting, right? If you're going to do the story route on your hooks, the very first sentence has to be really interesting. Now, to pair that, you need to have, a good on-screen text and other things. But that's why people are on TikTok Shop in general, is they want to be entertained, right? So if they want to be entertained, you got to tell an entertaining story. Now, the problem that a lot of people run into is just, going too far off and it's only entertaining. But obviously for this video, we're just talking about hooks specifically. But that's one great example, is when you're just telling this interesting story, have some sort of crazy sentence, right? But it also goes in tandem with why they're listening to you in the first place. So if you're saying I was a X for a YZ, insert any word that you want, you're kind of already creating this frame of reference where people are like, oh, I should be listening to this person, right? You're telling the story of how you were involved with somebody that knows what they're doing in a certain field or a certain area, depending upon what product that you are selling. So if you want to actually implement that yourself, again, don't just copy word for word. So many people, the problem is they'll copy the exact word saying I was a nanny for a billionaire family. At least just go one step more creative. So random example right here, if you're trying to sell a skincare product, at least say something like my aunt was a holistic dermatologist, something like that, where it's the same thing, but you're just changing it slightly. And if you just go one step further, you're going to allow yourself to really use these hooks over and over again. Another hook that's working really well that I've used time and time again is do not get scammed XYZ. So again, we're trying to create controversy. Again, people want drama, people want negative things. They don't want to hear positives. And again, that sounds like a dark thing to say, but that's just how people are. They are interested in drama and controversy and scams. So you want to lean into that, right? So another example is, again, please do not not get scammed. And then this is kind of more of a middle of funnel video, but you could very easily be like, do not get scammed and buying something. There are multiple different versions of that. But again, you want to drag people along and make them like, oh gosh, what's this scam? Like what's going on? Why are people getting scammed in general? It's a great hook that you can use. Again, this is more of a middle of funnel concept, but you can very easily insert this into really any product, into anything. It doesn't have to be do not get scammed buying a certain product. It can be do not get scammed buying skincare. Then you talk about something, scams within the skincare industry, and then you reference that to your actual product. And if you actually implement this properly, again, you can use this across multiple different videos. Time and time again, I use the same hooks across multiple different videos. But again, if you understand that people like controversy and drama, you can plug and play this into multiple different products, no matter what it is, even if it's different niches. It really doesn't matter. These are some of the best hooks that are working right now. And I have a lot of people asking like, okay, like what are some of these hooks that you've actually used? So I've actually compiled 3 of my very top hooks that I used in 2024. There's literally 3 in mind. They've made me a ton of money. And the funniest part about this is, again, people forget about hooks. So just because they were used last year does not mean that they're not going to work again this year. Again, everybody's using the same stuff over and over. So if you actually recycle old stuff, that's a thing that can work out really well for you. So if you want to see 3 of my hooks that have made me a lot of money in 2024, literally my top ones, I put the link in the description. You can download it. It'll get sent right to you. The next hook, this is actually something slightly different, right? So all the hooks that I've talked about previously are examples of verbal hooks. So what is a visual hook? It's something that you can do to stick out visually, right? Now, oftentimes you want to pair a visual hook and a verbal hook, but they each have their own place. And if you can kind of combine them together, you can really do some damage. So here's one specific example that you can do for a visual hook. All right, so I just got a product that I made a couple videos on a couple months ago. I made a fair amount of commission. I want to say like $3,000, something like that. So I'm going to give you an example of a visual hook, right? Again, you want to pair this with a verbal hook. You don't want to just like do a visual hook and then randomly you just start yapping about nothing. So here was the actual visual hook that I did. So I would stick this up real close to the camera. Again, keep in mind, pretend like, my phone's right here in front of me, and I would just like stick it right there. I would go, and then I would make like this weird face. So again, it's something so stupid as that. So if you have some sort of product that you can do a visual hook in, you need something to stop people, because again, everybody's scrolling really quickly, right? And so everybody is using verbal hooks. So you can really easily stick out. Imagine you just hear yap, 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 and then you hear, you're going to stop scrolling no matter what. And then the other elements are going to be relied on to actually get them to stop scrolling. So that's one example of a different hook. Again, you can implement them with verbal and also visual. They're both important in their own way. Some products you just can't do a visual hook, and that's perfectly fine. The last hook here, and this is also another great idea, you can get a ton of different hook ideas from Twitter/X. There's a ton of great things that if you are on the right feed, you can get fed some really good hooks that you might not see on TikTok Shop yet. So this is one that I've tested out a couple times so far, and it starts with what's some propaganda that you just refuse to fall for, and then you give some sort of common belief that people have in general, and you're going to challenge it, right? You want to insert some sort of niche relevant to what you're talking about. So real example of it, let's just say again, you're selling NeuroGum. What's one piece of propaganda that you refuse to fall for? That you should be mentally exhausted by the end of the day. And so again, everybody now who is mentally exhausted by the end of the day, they're like, oh shoot, like he's challenging, what I think about being mentally exhausted. So then you'd go through your script, right? It doesn't just have to be something crazy. It doesn't have to be an outlandish statement. It doesn't have to be moaning into the camera for whatever reason. Please do not do that. Like, it just attracts the wrong audience. A side note, saw a random example of somebody, like, he was in a shower and he was like moaning and his like quote unquote mom came in. Like, please do not do that. It's gonna just destroy your audience as a side note. Anyways, back to the example here. It works really well because you're challenging people's common beliefs of like some piece of propaganda, right? So that can be another example of a really good, powerful, but simple verbal hook. So there they are, top 5 TikTok Shop hooks that are working right now in 2025. I hope by now, watching this video, you've probably realized that most people trying to sell on TikTok Shop are just guessing. There's no rhyme or reason, right? They have no idea why some videos work, some don't, why the hook works, why the hook doesn't. I hope from this video you understand that apart at least. But now you have the exact blueprint for hooks that are proven to actually work, and most importantly, get people to watch all the way through so that they actually buy your product and therefore you make money. And again, if you do want my top 3 hooks from 2024, the link for that is in the description and I'll send it to you right away.